Hi everyone, I'm Mark from Travelshorts. This is my son Matthew. That's my daughter Holly. And today we're in Stockholm and we're going to be exploring everything this city has to offer in just one day. So we arrived into Stockholm Arlanda Airport last night. We stayed in a hotel called Good Morning Arlanda, which is right by the hotel. We've had breakfast this morning. We've got the Arlanda Express train right into the city centre, and now we're ready to explore. So we've just purchased some 24-hour travel cards from T Centralen station below us here. Because Holly's only 10 years old, she rides for free all day. Matthew, because he's 13, he has to have a reduced card, so he's got a child ticket, and I've got an adult ticket. I can't recall what I actually paid for the two of them, but I'll put it just by here, so you can see. The first place we're going to go this morning is the Vasa Museum. And to get there, we're going to catch a tram number 7, and I think I see it right in front of us here. So we've just got off the tram. Took about 10 minutes to get here, and the Vasa Museum should be about a 5-minute walk away. Looking at the signs up there, Vasa Museum, Vasa Museum, this way. So Stockholm's actually made up of 14 different islands. The island we're on now, I'm not going to pronounce it, I'm going to write it down by here, is also known as Museum Island. There's quite a lot of museums in this one place. We're going to go to 2 of them. First one, like I said, is the Vasa Museum, which holds a ship that sank in 1428 on its maiden voyage. And it was recovered not that long ago, I think in the 1970s. Hold on, look at this sign here. So, Vasa Museum number 3, which is over by there, and we're here. So we're just going to walk straight down this path and we should get there. Actually, a mistake. The ship sank in 1628, not 1428. Matthew just corrected me. So the museum opens today at 10 AM. Got 5 minutes to go. It's 5 to 10 now. Thank you. So on the ship's maiden voyage in 1628, it actually sunk in the harbour just off the coast here in Stockholm. Reason for it, it was actually really badly designed. It was too top heavy, as you can probably see, and we'll go for a walk around the whole ship shortly. There wasn't enough ballast down below. The ship was too top heavy, so like I said, on its maiden voyage in the harbour just outside, it just keeled over and sank. Really badly designed, and the king was actually one of the ones who helped design it, so there was never any prosecutions or repercussions or anything. It just lay at the bottom of the harbour for almost 400 years, and then in the 1970s it was actually resurrected, brought to the surface and brought here, and this museum was actually built around it after it came here into its dry dock for restoration. So it is really fascinating to think it's in such good condition, and it's over 400 years, well, almost 400 years old. Wow. The only things that have been replaced are the ropes, but nearly all the timbers are original. All the decorations on the back here and the sides are original. And also, if you look down here, all the cannon holes there, they were actually left open during the maiden voyage, and that's where all the water came in that helped it sink and capsize. But yeah, when you look at it, the conditioning is just stunning for its age. It's unbelievable. I'm going to say this is probably one of the most restored ships, ancient ships that I've ever seen. There's also the Mary Rose as well, which you can see in the UK. That's similar condition, but I think this one just beats the Mary Rose for looking still original. One of the good things about this museum as well is when you pay for an adult, children get in for free. So I think it was 220 krona, Swedish krona. I'll leave the exact price down here somewhere, or I might have already done it as we entered the museum. But yeah, Matthew and Holly, free of charge, which is always a bonus when you're on holiday. So all the way along here, they're all Roman emperors. So it looks like they actually used to dive on the wreck as well, with this diving bell behind me here. So they were using this in 1663 to go down to the wreck and probably salvage things off it. I wouldn't fancy that. So we spent about 30 minutes at the Vasa wreck. We're now going to the Lego Brickwrecks experience here at the Vasa Museum. It's a separate ticket, but it was a free of charge ticket. You just had to pre-book your entry for it, which we've done. 10:30, got a QR code to go in, and I think it's just around by here. How it was brought back up to the surface. So that was the Lego Brickwrecks exhibition here at the Vasa Museum. You only need about 5 minutes to walk around it. It's pretty interesting, but not really any interactive displays or anything like that there for the kids. We're now back into the main section of the Vasa Museum. Like I said, that's a free of charge exhibit. You just have to pre-book your time when you want to go in there. Our time was between 10:30 and 11. And now we're back in the main section of the Vasa Museum. So it looks like the divers tunnelled underneath the bottom of the ship down there through tunnels to put the hoist underneath it. So that was it. That was the visit to the Vasa Museum here in Stockholm. Really enjoyable. We were only just less than an hour, so you don't need to spend too much time there. We really saw everything that's in there, and to be honest, it's only that shipwreck that's in there. Now we're going to head to another museum, and when you think of Sweden, this is the music group that you think of. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'll tell you on the way. So I think you've probably guessed where we're going to go next from those hints. Yes, that's right, we're going to go to the ABBA Museum. It's about a 10-minute walk from the Vasa Museum. The way we were going to walk, which is through a cemetery, which is what Google Maps is telling us to do, is actually closed, so we need to walk along the road. I'm not sure how long that's going to take, maybe another few minutes. Again, we have to prepay and pre-book our tickets for a certain time slot. We've used Get Your Guide again, which I kind of use all around the world if I'm completely honest. Get Your Guide's really efficient. You get your tickets, and the best thing about them, sometimes they're actually cheaper than the actual venues themselves. And you can also cancel with 24 hours notice, just in case your travel plans change along the way. I'll leave a link in the description down below for where I've got that ticket from Get Your Guide. I'm not sponsored by Get Your Guide, I just use them a lot. I find them really good customer service if you ever have any issues with the venue itself. And let's keep walking to the ABBA Museum. So we made it to the ABBA Museum here in Stockholm. Just going to join the line now and we should be going in shortly. You knew those songs, Holly?
Oh, too.
Yeah.
I told you.
See what the free digital souvenir is. The free digital souvenir is I can't get a connection. We'll have a look and we'll reload that page upstairs when we go outside. Or if you want to scan it yourself, there you go. Can we walk through the shop? A little look. So we've just finished our tour around the Abba Museum. I think you only probably need an hour maximum. What time is it now? It's 12 o'clock. So we were inside for exactly an hour. You might have seen I have to put my bag in the locker because I've got a reasonably sized rucksack on my back. So we put that in the locker to begin with. It's free of charge. and then picked her up at the end of the tour. So now we're going to head over to the old town, which is called Gamla, and to do that we're actually going to go on a boat, which I'm actually looking forward to that, because that's almost a little highlight of a trip anyway, isn't it, taking a ferry across the water. So let's go and find where the ferry ports are. So according to Google Maps, the ferry port is only 3 minutes walk away. It's literally just on this road here, turn right and we'll be there. So we're looking for ferry number 82. That's the one that goes from this, what I'm going to call Museum Island, this area here, all the way to Gamla, which is the old town. It looks like it runs every 20 minutes, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. So let's get down to the harbour area. I can see there's a boat in there now, but we just got to make sure it is number 82. And we can use those travel cards that we purchased earlier at the train station to use this ferry as well. So that's going to be good for all our public transportation needs today while we're touring around Stockholm. Should we just go to the front? So we've made it onto ferry number 82. It should just be a 20-minute journey to where we want to go in Gamla. There's one stop before we arrive there, so the second stop will be where we get off the boat. So we did think about going to this theme park. Unfortunately, a lot of the rides, Holly's actually too small to go on, because the majority are kind of thrill roller coaster rides that you can probably see here, with a minimum height of 140 centimeters. So we've made it to Gamla. What we're going to do now is walk through the old town a little bit. We've got about 30 minutes before we start our walking tour, which we pre-arranged through Guru Walks. I'll tell you a little bit more about them when we arrive, but I think what we're going to look for now is somewhere we can get some ice cream. Yeah? So what do you want, Holly?
Ice cream. There's a big ice cream thing there.
Where?
Yeah.
It's what?
Big ice cream.
Oh yeah.
I think I just want raspberry.
What do you want?
Salted toffee.
So I have gone for lingonberry because I'm in Sweden and you've got to have lingonberry. Holly has got some raspberry and Matthew has got salted toffee. That's a unique one, I've never seen that one before. And this total came to 175 Swedish krona, which I think is maybe about 13-14 pounds. So we finished our ice creams and now we're walking through the old town to meet our guide for our Guru Walks tour around the old town in Stockholm here. We booked it via Guru Walks. If you're not familiar with Guru Walks, it's actually a free walking tour service basically around the world where you can pick from their websites anywhere you want to go. So we've picked the ones for Stockholm. It's actually going to be guided by a Viking as well. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can book the same one. But like I said, it's totally free. All you do is tip the guide at the end of the tour, depending on how much you think his services are worth. As soon as we get there, I'll explain a little bit more, but I'll see you after we finish walking around the old town here in Gamla.
Now let's start with what the Vikings usually begin their raids with, right? With the blowing some horn. Huh? Yeah? All together I'm going to give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1, and as soon as I say 1, all together we're going to growl on them. Does that sound good? Well, if that sounds good, then let's start with blowing horn. Unless you want me to be like one of those tour guides who go like in 15, 20 on this. Heard there was a Stockholm spot buff. Let's go to next stop. Yeah?
No.
You didn't come here for that, no? You came for the Viking Tour. Yeah. Good. Well, then let's begin. Good morning, Gamla stand. Begin your week because I am finishing it. Alright, anyways, let's start with the first things first. Welcome to Stockholm, beautiful city. You're my Vikings, which means you don't have to ask any permission. You can take all the pictures, all the videos, everything you want. There's only one condition. If you post that stuff, especially on Instagram, you tag me. Viking Walking Tour. This is my Instagram, and this is where we're actually going to find our group picture by the end of the tour. That's also where you can find some recommendations and some fun stuff that I'm sometimes, when I have a mind for that, posting about the Vikings. Quick presentation. My name is Alex. I'm originally from Latvia. Latvia. Letland. And if you go like, oh, Letland is not Scandinavia, you can't be Viking. Well, you're right. Latvia is not a part of Scandinavia, no. But Vikings, they used to cross Baltic Sea. And then on the way into the territories of Russia, Ukraine, and Constantinople in Byzantine Empire, they would leave little Vikings behind. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that in my blood there is a genes of the Vikings, because all my life I've been drawn to adventures. I visited 38 countries and I lived in 7 of them. I crossed Atlantic Ocean with the boats 4 times, and each place where I would live I always tried to perform in some creative way. In 2018 I traveled for 105 days, an epic adventure all the way from Peru by the land and sea, crossing Atlantic Ocean with the sailboat for the 4th time, and upon our arrival here to Sweden I became a real Viking. To know how to structure the story, I have a question for you. I need to know what kind of image comes up to your mind when I say the word Viking? Huh? How do you picture us Vikings? Thor! The god Thor, with the helmet with the horns, right? Yeah, raise the hand, everyone who pictures a Viking wearing helmet with the horns. Braided people with the helmets with the horns, believing in the old gods. Okay, beardy, man and women alike. Ships, Vikings are good shipbuilders and the sailors. Sailors and shipbuilders with the helmets, with the horns, with the braids and long beards. And they tall, right? Tall, okay. So let's begin our tour then, yeah? Our walk. I want to tell you this. This is not a usual tour, as I can imagine, as you can imagine probably. This is a co-creative experience. Together we're going to make today to be some fun. Ready? Let's go. Okay, so we have arrived to our very first stop, and it is St. George and the Dragon. If you would do a tour with any other tour guide, like a city tour guide, because I'm a Viking tour guide, right? But if you would do the tour with the city tour guide, then they would bring you here to this place. The most likely the story they would tell you about this sculpture would sound something like this. That first of all, it represents evil Danish people. Because Swedish and Danish always loved each other very much, right? They're like brothers. So the dragon represents the Danish people. This story that I just told you, historically is not very accurate. So the real reason why Sten Sture made the sculpture, we don't know. It's that we came here to look for the Viking stuff, right? After the Bronze Age, the Viking Age begins at the beginning of 8th century. And since it follows the Bronze Age, it's actually Iron Age. official name of the Viking Age is Iron Age. And if you might know the history of Europe, you go like, wait, 8th century, isn't that medieval times? Yes, in Europe. Here we took a little bit of time, we were a little bit behind. Viking Age is the Iron Age of Scandinavia. Vikings is not ethnicity or race or nation. It's a period of time we call Viking Age, and we consider every Scandinavian living here during that period of time to be a Viking. That's how we call them. Okay, this is clear? Yeah. Let's go to Royal Palace to talk about Viking politics. Now we have arrived to the Royal Palace. Commonly, actually, people from Stockholm call it a shoebox. And if you wonder why, well, take a look at the aerial image of it. It's just like a box, nothing special. Now, but before we talk about Royal Palace, let's talk about origins of the city of Stockholm. Officially, history of Stockholm begins in the year 1252. When was it founded then? Well, we don't know. We speculate that it could be 80 years earlier because around 80 years before the 1252 there was a pirate attack on the city of Sigtuna, which in that time was the capital city of Swedish Kingdom. And then when the pirates sacked the city, people might have moved to this island. But we don't have historical evidence, it's just a theory, a speculation, so it's not proven. Right, so the tower was built there, then it started to expand with the time. It became a castle of 3 crowns where the kings and queens were living until year 1697. 1697, it's a year that has little to do with the Vikings, but everything with the history of Stockholm, because that year there was a fire that started in the castle, burned it down to the ground, including National Library and Royal Archives, which equals to 95% of all the information about early medieval Stockholm. How was city founded? We don't know. Anything about the Vikings? It became ashes, so it's a massive loss of information. After the fire, they decided to build this thing over here. They said it will take them 5 years to build it. The construction lasted over 70. 7 decades. My personal theory is because the builders, when they looked at the plans, they were not very inspired. Welcome to probably one of the most boring royal palaces in the world. But during the Viking times, or at the beginning of Viking Age, the kingdoms started to form. It started with Denmark. Denmark is a fairly flat land, no big mountains or deep rivers. It's easy to gain and maintain control over the land. When consolidation of the kingdom started to happen here in Scandinavia, also the process that we call Viking expansion begins. People start to leave their homes, running away from the violence, looking for new places where to settle. Some of them they will snatch from Francia or from Anglia. Some of those they will discover, like Faroe Islands, Iceland, Greenland, all the way to Canada. And this expansion is mainly attained to the violence within Scandinavia due to consolidation of the power. There's other theories as well, but this is the most prominent. We have to talk about Christianization of Scandinavia, and for that we're going to visit Strawberry Cake with Chocolate Topping, the main cathedral of Stockholm. Strawberry cake. Right? With touch of vanilla. Let's go! It's called San Nicolas officially. Unofficially, it's called Storkyrka, which means big church. So San Nicolas happens to be the oldest building of the city of Stockholm. Doesn't look that old, right? The reason why it doesn't look that old is because in 18th century, when they finished to build the royal palace, they decided to match the cathedral in the same Baroque style. So they restored it, and now they have this. But it is originally from 14th century. It survived all the calamities that Stockholm has gone through. Rollo is a leader. His followers have to become Christians eventually because there's a pressure from the king and from the church. His followers have to become Christians. They will bring the religion into their families. And this is one of the examples how every time when Viking leader would make alliance with the Christian leaders as a part of to seal the deal, they had to adopt the religion. And in this way, Christianity spreads in Scandinavia without great violence. Like everywhere else in Europe, there were crusades wiping out entire cultures. Here, we become Christians. And as a matter of fact, because of this, you can find traditions that are literally originated in pagan times still celebrated in Sweden. Like, for example, Midsummer. It's a pure paganic tradition. Of course, we don't do it spiritually anymore. We just get drunk. That's another reason. Let's head out. And princess, careful with Stockholm syndrome. Let's go. The archaeological site of Gamla Stan. Don't look up. Archaeology doesn't deal with the stuff up there, it's astronomy. Archaeology deals with the stuff in the ground. I present to you one of the touristic attractions of the city of Stockholm. Ready? Yeah? Yeah? A hole in the wall. We have holes in the walls to show to the people. We also have ships that never sailed. But the hole in the wall is actually garbage disposal infrastructure of medieval times. People used to throw down in old times their household waste. It's a garbage chute and would come out splashing on the street. Obviously, in old times, the garbage was not like ours today, plastic and the glass and the metal and stuff. It was mainly human waste. So it was also coming out nicely smelling. As a matter of fact, the city of Stockholm started to smell so nice at some stage, that King of Sweden decreed that all these holes should be sealed. So they just like closed them all. Welcome to the land of the Vikings. Alright, but the garbage is very important for development of the cities. Actually, in medieval times, cities grow. Stockholm, in some places, is up to 2 meters higher than its regional level because people would trample all over that garbage, creating new layers of the soil. So literally, we are standing on the pile of, The Viking Age began to be studied. An image of the Vikings that still somehow persists up to today was created in 16th century. In 16th century, there is no archaeology. It's a job for historians. Historians need to read about the past, so they need written sources. We have 3 types of written sources from Viking Age. The first one of them was made by us, Vikings, here in Scandinavia. Does anyone know where did Vikings leave their inscriptions? On which objects? On the stones. We carve runes on the stones. How do we call stones with the runes on them?
Runestones.
Runestones! Yes, because we never complicate things naming them. It's a stone with the runes, it's called runestone, runestenar. Yeah, runestone, yes. So, would you like to see a Viking runestone? Yeah? I have one for you just down the street. Let's go to the runestone. I present to you a Viking runestone. An artifact made by Viking family over 1,000 years ago. Obviously, it was not made inside of this building. This building was built 500 years after Viking Age was over. They used it as a construction material. And unfortunately, in medieval times, many of the runestones have been destroyed in this way to build churches, houses, buildings, bridges, all kind of stuff. The first things that we can see on the runestone are these symbols, which are runes. Runes are letters that form alphabet called futark, which is originated from Latin, and it was derived by Germanic tribes in Central Europe about 2,000 years ago, so way before Vikings. We have over 3,200 of these stones scattered across whole Scandinavia and Iceland. Iceland we can disqualify right away because they only have 10 of them. Losers. Most of the runestones you will find in Sweden, more than 2,800, from which more than the half is concentrated in Stockholm area. But in the north part of Stockholm, you will find settlements like Sigtuna, Uppsala, Västerås. They are Viking settlements, and around them there is so many runestones. Yet majority of the runestones have a generic message. The most typical message written on the runestone will say something like this. So this runestone is made by Ragnar in the name of his father Odin, who was a good man. May the god protect his soul. And what does it mean? What is this inscription meaning? It's inheritance stone that stands on the roads that leads to your farm. And what it says, that Ragnar inherited properties of Odin when he died, and that they're Christians. May the God protect his soul is a Christian addition, and majority of the stones in this area are Christians because church became so powerful in 10th century, started to take away the lands of the people. So you would claim your land, it's mine, don't touch it, I'm Christian. Huh? This runestone has a similar but not the same message. It says like this: the stone is made by Torstan and Frogun, Viking man and a woman, in the name of their son, whose name we do not know because they didn't handle it with care. And may the God protect his soul and forgive his sins. So it's a Christian runestone. Torstan and Frogun, they lost their son. Let's continue because you see this is not a good source of information. So historians look for other sources. Let's find them in German church. Now I have brought you to the German church. The name German church is related that in 1252, when the stepdad of Stockholm, Birger Jarl, wrote a letter to the king in Germany, the German traders saw an opportunity. The city didn't have a trade route, so they're like, business time. They started to flock in here. They created a trade guild, which in 16th century became a church. But initially it was just a trade guild. Today, this church maintains its origins. It still does everything in German. So all the sermons are made in German in this church. So it's a kind of a hub for the traditional families that are originated from Germanic roots, and they still live by the traditions more or less. Here in Stockholm, that they have a hub here. We can find here our other two sources that we look for about the Vikings. And the first of them that we're going to find, our second source, is going to be found on the tower. If you look at the tower, you can see gargoyles, right? The gargoyles are mythological creatures that doesn't exist. So the second source of written history of the Viking times, it's also mythological. It's called Icelandic sagas. Those are over 700 folkloric stories that tell us about legendary heroes like Ragnar Lodbrok, who never existed. They tell us about the gods and the myths, the myth of creation, the end of the world, Ragnarok. They tell us about also historical characters like Bjorn Ironside or Walking Rollo, and also about historical events, like for example the journey to Canada, to Newfoundland by the Leif Erikson. Yeah? So who are the real Vikings then? That I'm going to tell you on the most romantic square of Gamla Stan and the tree of poesy. So let's go there and talk about who are the real Vikings. Right, anyways, I have brought you now to a burned lot. There used to be a house on this very square which burned down, and they rebuilt it. And then it burned down again. They rebuilt it again, it burned down again. And then the owner went like, I'm tired of this. And he planted the tree of chestnut that grew and became a tree of poesy. This is a hands down most coziest square of the Gamla Stan, especially in the evening when it gets like a little bit more dark and calmer. There's a like environment here, it feels very cozy. This tree is, under this tree, the couples in love would come to declare their love in verses. So it's very beautiful place with lots of romantic history, which has a lot to do with the image of the Vikings. Let's see, who are the real Vikings? After all the research that has been done by today, we can say for sure three things. First, the word Viking did exist in the Viking times, but it was not used usually to describe people. So you are not a Viking, my friend. You go on Viking. It's a verb mostly used as a verb to describe the piracy raid. So if you go to raid, then you might become, then you can be considered to be a Viking. Here, any one of you wants to challenge a Viking for a sword fight? At least that. Each other. Good job. Anyways, I bring you now to the German World Square. It's called German World Square because we are 2 steps away from German church, and also because a lot of German traders were living in this area, and we can say that there were rich people living in this because most of the houses are yellow, which represents the gold color. So yellow houses are the ones where the richest people were living. Now the German well is actually one of the first sources of the clean water for inhabitants of this city. It was opened in 1787, so it's a 18th century. Vikings bathe every Saturday. In Swedish language, Saturday is pronounced lördag, which etymologically means cleaning day. Why do you talk about hygiene here? Precisely because we have these two buildings, yellow and grey. The big one used to be a monastery on this side and the brothel on the other side. I have minors in public, don't ask me why that combination, but it was good for business, I promise. Today it's a school. The small part used to be a public bathhouse where people would bathe because Scandinavia always was cleaner than the rest of the Europe. Yet today it's a swimming school. I'm not going to spoil up what it is, but we're going to go to the biggest part of Gamla stan. So we'll go there. I usually would play some Viking music, but I forgot my music instrument today. So just don't lose me out of sight because it's too big, the park, right? Actually, originally it's not a park, it's a square where the fire trucks would turn around to go to the next fire. Firefighters were extremely important people for this city. It burned over 20 times in its history. So firefighters were very important and extremely ineffective. Gamla stan means old town. And this is a name that we call this part of the city since 1970s. In majority of the 20th century, we call it city between the bridges. A part of the town that is filthiest that you can imagine. This part is, so as I said, these buildings, they built between 15th and 19th centuries, right? So there is no initially design of the bathrooms. The bathroom is the street. So the park was actually a response to this, that this part of the town is so filthy and so hard to live, and they created this space, like a green space, which mostly was used as a public bathroom, of course. Yeah. The keys represent the powers that woman has in a household, but they are keys. They open chest full of treasures because women will make a budget for the family. They open a barn with the stockpiled food because women are the ones who will make like ration the food throughout a year, 2 years up ahead. You know, you can't just put up everything here, which you need to do in the winter. Now the keys do something else. If the woman would place the keys on the table, and in Sweden, we have a superstition about putting keys on the... What do we say?
It's bad luck.
It's bad luck to put keys on the table in Sweden. The superstition might have been originated in Viking times, because in the Viking age, if the woman would place the keys on the table, that meant divorce. The fear never entered into the heart of the man, so the Odin will recognize that and his soul will ascend to Valhalla, a great longhouse where all the fallen warriors from before eat food until they get stuffed and drink mead until they get drunk. And when everyone is drunk, they pull out their weapons and start to kill each other. Kill everyone! Don't worry, it's Valhalla. Because as soon as all of us die, we get resurrected all together to continue doing the same thing again and again and again and again until end of the days. Ragnarok. Valhalla belongs to Odin, the god of the war and wisdom, who loves people getting drunk and killing each other. Well, said that, I just want to take you to one more last stop where I'm going to finish the story, where I'm going to wrap it up, and then we're going to take a picture and I'm going to let you go, okay? Yeah? All right. Let's go to the last stop, to the most magnificent sculpture of the city of Stockholm. I bring you to the Iron Boy, also sometimes referred as a moon boy. The Iron Boy is the smallest sculpture of the city of the Stockholm. It was placed here in 1967, and that's it. There is nothing else to tell. Swedish art usually is conceptual. We just put it there, something, painting or sculpture, and go like, what does it mean? What does it mean to you? No, but you see all these coins, right? You might wonder why. And the answer is a bit weird, because Gamla Stan is small. Now, but the other tour guides, when they realized we have a new spot to show to the people, they decided to show it to the tourists. But they can't just say it's the smallest sculpture placed in 1967, there is nothing else to say. So they invented a story. They said, if you make an offering to the Iron Boy, and the offering can be anything, that's why we can see coins, there is a candy, that looks like some sort of pill, so please don't take it. I don't know what it is. People offer whatever. After making an offering, you have to pet its head. That's why it's shiny, because people constantly just pet its head, right? And then tour guides will tell you different things. Some of them will tell you that you can make a wish and your wish will come true. Some of them will say you will get pregnant. Some of them will say you will come back to Stockholm. I say that we make these offerings right under the windows of the Finnish church and its offices, which 200 years ago would not be a good idea. Today, we have a tolerance in Sweden towards all the faiths, so you can make your offerings to Iron Boy and ask him for favors. Our hearts usually try to guide us towards our dreams, the path which is never too late to take. The path surrounded by the fears and the criticism from your closest ones, from your family, from your friends, fears if it's going to go wrong. There is only one thing that is going to go really wrong if you don't go in the path of your dreams. And that is that at some stage you will regret that you never tried. Stay strong, stay brave, be Vikings, be curious, and thank you very much for coming to the tour. I hope that you enjoyed it.
You too.
Enjoy journey to China.
Thank you. So that was the end of our Viking tour around Stockholm. We really enjoyed it. The guide Alex was really knowledgeable, and he was also really good with Matthew and Holly as well. So what we're going to do now is head back to where we first met him and have a look for somewhere to eat. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we booked this via Guru Walks. You can have a look in the description down below. There'll be a direct link to his Viking tour around Stockholm. Click on that and you can book it yourself. So that's actually the end of our planned activities for today. From now on, we're just going to take it as it goes. We're going to walk around Gamla Stan. We're going to try and find somewhere to eat. I think some of the first restaurants we come to, we'll take a look at the menu, see if we fancy anything, and then just go in there and get something to eat. So we've come to this place that's called Matt's. It's like a burger joint. It looks a bit like a Five Guys. Here we are. I've got some chicken nuggets. I've got a cheeseburger. I've got a cheeseburger. And this came to 413 Swedish krona, which I think is about £30. After we finished our lunch, we've just been walking around for about half an hour. We found a nice little park. So there's a nice fountain ahead of us here. Through there, some swans all around. I think for about the next hour or so, we're just going to slowly walk around Stockholm. Don't really have any plans. We are going to be going to our hotel maybe about an hour, hour and a half. To get there, we're going to get the Arlanda Express like we did to come into Stockholm, because our hotel is next to the airport and it's very unique, and I can't wait to show you guys. So we've just decided to sit down here. We're in a park fire fountain. It's a really, I don't think I've mentioned it in this video so far, but it's a really warm day today in Stockholm. It's averaging about 24, 25 degrees. So we made sure we put some sun cream on this morning, and now we're just relaxing. What we think we're going to do after we've sat down for maybe 20, 30 minutes is keep walking in that direction, go to a 7-Eleven and get some snacks for tonight. Because although we're in a really unique hotel, there isn't a restaurant there, so we need to stock up on supplies before we head over there for the night. We've stocked up on supplies from 7-Eleven for this evening, and now we're going to catch the Arlanda Express train all the way back to the airport.
We made it onto the Arlanda Express and now we're going to the airport.
So it's a short 80-minute journey to the Stockholm Arlanda Airport. We'll be there shortly. Then we're going to catch an internal bus to our hotel. So when I purchased the ticket for the Arlanda Express a few days ago via Get Your Guide, I got a return. So can't remember the total cost of the return ticket. I'll put it on the description below. But as I mentioned on the way here, is best thing about the Arlanda Express, it might be costly, but if you're traveling as a family with children, children travel for free. So I've only paid for one ticket, one adult ticket, and that will include Matthew and Holly's fare, which is very good. So it actually works out a bit cheaper than if we were to get another train or a bus, and I'd have to pay for all three of us separately, which is the reason why we're on the Arlanda Express. Okay, I'm just going to do a really quick seat tour. Plenty of leg room. Look at that. Loads of leg room here. We've got 2 cup holders there. Each seat has got a coat hook to put your jacket on. Inside there. Looks like down below there to put your magazines or newspapers in. And then underneath the arm, we've got 2 plug sockets, the European style obviously. No USB plugs, but that's quite handy, so you can charge your phone on the way to the city or on the way back from the city. This is what the seats look like. Really spacious and really comfortable for just an 18-minute ride. You're not going to be uncomfortable or get a bad back here. And above the seats, you got a place to put your bags up there. Or if you've got larger bags and cases, which you might have coming from the airport, there's a place to put your suitcases in every carriage right by there. So that was the Arlanda Express coming here to Stockholm Arlanda Airport. We've now arrived in Terminal 4, so the first stop on the train is for Terminals 2, 3 and 4. And then the second stop, which is 2 minutes down the line, is for Terminal 5. Okay, now we're back at Arlanda Airport. We've got to go outside to the bus stops, find bus stop number 3, and that's where we're going to catch our coach all the way to our hotel for tonight. And that was the bus that we wanted, P3. But we can also take P2, so hopefully that's going to be here shortly. So we've just got off at our bus stop. Around this corner is going to be where we're staying tonight. Some of you who are probably familiar with Arlanda Airport and know about the unique hotel that's here will probably have guessed it already, but here we go. I'm going to show you our hotel for tonight. That's it there. It's a jumbo 747 and we've got a room in there, a triple family room, and that's where we're going to head for now. So this is the jumbo stay at Arlanda Airport. It's an old, disused jumbo 747. It's a real 747 as well. So, I think this is crazy staying in a jumbo 747, but before we go in to check in, I think we're going to have a little tour around the plane itself. But these empty engine carcasses as well, you can actually sleep in there. There's a sleeping pod in each one, so there's 4 of those. Tell you what, let's have a full walk around, shall we, outside first. Yeah, there's actually a single bed, well, a large single bed in that area there. There's some wheels. So just to give you an idea of the size of the wheels. Do you want to go next to the wheel, Tom?
The wheels are...
So now you can say you've touched a jumbo 747's wheels. You don't get to do that very often, do you? In fact, that's the first time we've ever done that. So there's a room at the back as well, which is the black box room, I believe. That's your private entrance and exit there. We've even got a luggage carrier little vehicle here. I think it's seen better days, but this is what brings your luggage onto your plane. Over here, you've got a tyre swing there as well, made out of a 747 tyre. So there's 2 more engine rooms on this side as well. And you can even have a room up here as well, I believe. So this is the wheelhouse room in there. You can see some holes in the fuselage here, some insulation behind there. So I'll be honest, this plane has seen better days, and just so you know, that's how close we are to Arlanda Airport. It's literally the other side of the road there, so that plane's just arrived. The nose. And if you are going to stay in one of the engine rooms, you go up those steps, and that's your room there. So this plane was originally commissioned in the 1970s for Singapore Airlines. After being in Singapore Airlines, it got sold to Pan Am. Then it had a number of owners since then, and I believe the last airline to own it was a Finnish airline that went out of business. That's when it came here, got towed to here, and then became a hotel. The Jumbo Stay Hotel, 747, Boeing 747, wow. An amazing hotel. I don't think I've stayed in anywhere as unique as this ever before, so we're really looking forward to staying in here. I think we're going to have a little bit more touring outside, and then we're going to go inside and take a look around and check into our room. So let's go up. There's reception. To get in, we have to punch the code. Obviously, I'm not going to show you what the code is. There we go. So we're going to go this way and find our room. Here's our room. Let's have a look what it's like.
Okay.
So here we go. This is a triple room. It's quite small, but we are on an aircraft, so what do you expect? So we've got a bunk bed there and 2 single beds below it. Got a ladder to get up there. And this is where we store our luggage, just like on a real plane. There we go. And we've got a TV there as well if we need it. Here's our windows.
What can we see?
We can see out to the airport. It's a bit sunny out there, isn't it, Holly?
You can see the wind.
Yeah. And we've also got a bin there.
Nothing there.
Got 2 plug sockets. A mirror, there we go, and then that's it. Coat hanger and some places to put your coat on the door, and good to know information here. So breakfast is served between 3 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. Reception is open between 3 and 9. Checkout time is no later than 10, and there's Wi-Fi as well. And there's Matthew already. Hello, Matthew. So let's have a quick look around, shall we? This is the way to the bathrooms. It's okay. So here we go. Got a toilet, sink, and a shower there. So that's the bathroom. Quite a bit of space, to be honest. So here's the emergency exit, or what would have been the door on the rear of the plane. There we go. Oh, and it still works. Wow. Never thought I'd get to do that. So we've locked down the back of the plane. Now we're going to go to the front. Unfortunately, you can't go to the cockpit because that's an actual room in itself, but there's only 2 beds in that, so I couldn't book that when I booked this stay. I would have really liked to, but because there's 3 of us, we simply wouldn't have fitted in there. So I think this way is where the restaurant is. When I say restaurant, this is where we have breakfast in the morning. So this is the breakfast area. So that's going to be the breakfast tomorrow. It's already in the fridge. Hams, cheeses, apple juice, orange juice, and there's also soft drinks, but as you can see, it's locked obviously just in case people help themselves. And pretty interesting. So this is where we're going almost into the front nose cone now of the 747. There we go. Holly's on the thing there. And here's some history of the plane. So first flight was on the 19th of March 1976. As I mentioned earlier, Singapore Airlines was the first ones to have it. Then it was Pan Am, and you can see the Pan Am livery on there. Is breakfast for the morning. It's obviously been set up by the people that work here, ready for tomorrow. Got some Nutella there, so I know that's what Matthew's going to be having on for his breakfast, on toast, probably. These are what I imagine would have been the old first class seats, but they're a bit more like premium economy now, I guess. See what they're like. Yeah. So I think these were the old first class. Wow.
Even the seatbelt.
Maybe just premium economy actually.
They go back.
Yeah, I think we should be sitting these for breakfast. So like I mentioned, breakfast is from 3 AM tomorrow. We're not going to be here anywhere near that time. And if you want to buy some souvenirs as well, they sell jumbo stay souvenirs in this cabinet here. And here's some pictures of the plane in action. So we got the Pan Am there, Pan Am there, wow. Air Club, Tower Air, never heard of Tower Air, Air Asia, Transjet, here is in Gatwick in 94, Air Club. So I think we're going to go outside and have another look around. We can also go out to the wing. Looks like it closes at 9, but we've got plenty of time yet. So this is probably the only time we're ever going to get to walk on a Jumbo 747's wing. And they've set it up. They've got some tables and chairs up here. But it's seen better days. So we've got some tables and chairs out here. Right to the tip of the wing, shall we go? Okay, let's turn around and look at the plane. Here we go. There is paint's coming off a bit. It is looking a bit tatty, I've got to be honest. But what an amazing hotel to stay into for the night. Very, very unique. I've never stayed in anything like this before. Obviously I've slept on planes before, but never as a specialist hotel. It's always in an uncomfortable seat. What I think they should do, which would make this look absolutely stunning, have a paint job and put it back into its original Pan Am logo on the side. When you jump up and down on the wing, it really flexes. You can feel it. It's like turbulence. And then we can come back and sit out here as well with our drinks. Yeah. And our chocolate maybe. So now we're going to go back down. Holly wants to have a go on that swing. Do you need a push? Yeah? Okay, let's... there we go. And Matthew couldn't resist. Here he is. So we're going to go back into our room, get our snacks, get our drinks and chocolate, and sit on the wing for a bit, I think. Have a nice relax in the evening, watching the sun go down. And if you're interested how much something like this costs to stay in, our triple room for the night, including breakfast, cost around £64, and I booked that directly through booking.com. I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can actually go and book it yourself if you're interested to come here. So we've come out onto the wing, we're relaxing, we've got some milkshakes, we've got some Fanta, and we've got lots of chocolate. So we're going to relax out here till it starts to go dark. It's already getting pretty late, but the sun's still quite high in the sky. I think because we're in Sweden, sun sets a lot later than it does back in the UK. So that's going to be the end of today's video of exploring around Stockholm. After we've finished here, we're going to have an early night because we've got an early flight tomorrow morning. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. It's really appreciated. If you're new here, my name's Mark, along with my daughter Holly. Son Matthew, we make travel and theme park videos from around the world. Now here's Holly with her special message.
If you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell button. Bye!
Bye!